Hey guys, welcome back from the weekend. I hope everyone had a good one. And this week we have a pretty full week. We've got a 4-day assignment that we're going to work on together in our assigned groups. It's going to be on competitive analysis. So we'll talk about how you and your business fit into your market against your competitors, what some of their advantages, disadvantages, and kind of where you sit. So we'll talk some about that as for some introductions. We actually have a full day for class work together in our groups, and then we're going to wrap up on day 4 with some presentations. So in your Schoology, you'll find all of the resources I have here. I've got some slides I'm going to show you and walk through. All the references, information, and even some additional resources are on our class page on Schoology. So take a look at that when you can. For this competitive market analysis, we're going to try to discover key competitive factors about your business. Identify direct and indirect competitors, and we'll define those, what that means. Analyze competition and existing solutions to see the strength of your solution and where that fits, and try to apply anything that we've learned to improve your business. And the main one hand-in that you're going to have to do is, I'll show you in a minute, is our spreadsheet, which is the competitive analysis worksheet. So for the first day, we'll spend today talking about what is competitive analysis, and you guys probably know a lot of that already, but we'll define that, what the text has for competitive analysis and how to apply that, and look at some specific factors and how to do some solid research. Tomorrow, I'm going to have you work in your groups specifically all day tomorrow, doing your research, compiling the information, entering the information into your spreadsheet that we talked about, and I'll be available if there's any questions. Just walk in the room. But it's going to be a good work day tomorrow. And then the last 2 days, we're actually going to do some group presentations. I want to find out what you've learned about you, your business, your competitors. I want the others to hear what you have to say as well, and we'll have some Q&A during that time as well. So the turn-in that I mentioned earlier, there is a rubric, as always, in our class page. So if you want to look at that for details. Each group must come up with a competitive analysis statement, just a summary really of what you've learned about how you and the competition fit. I'm going to gauge your group participation as I always do within your groups and the work that you're doing. Every individual must turn in the spreadsheet, the competitive analysis worksheet that I've handed out to you, and then of course we have our group presentations at the end. So what is competitive analysis? So we're talking about business, we're talking about your business, and each of you have some ideas of the type of products or services you want to offer. So there's others out there probably offering something similar, or maybe even the same of what you are offering to the market. So how do you stack up? How do you compare against a different competitor? How do they compare against you? What are some strengths and weaknesses? In summary, that's what competitive analysis is. It's really a review of other solutions that solve the same problem that we've talked about. Could be products, could be services. It depends on what you're bringing to the market. And it really helps to answer 3 main questions. Who is targeting the same customers as you? What resources do they have at their disposal? Are they bigger? Are they smaller? Are they more well-known? And how your competitors intend to compete with you. So it's like a sports game, I guess. If you're up against the competition, how are they going to attack you? How are you going to attack them? Who's going to be able to come out ahead? So that's the idea of the competitive analysis. I've mentioned briefly 2 types of competitors. There's a direct competitor and indirect competitor. And you'll need to consider both of those. You're probably most familiar with direct competitors. If you think of McDonald's serving burgers and fries, Burger King, Wendy's, I mean, they're right up in their same space. Similar burgers, similar fries, similar shakes. So those would be considered direct competitors, basically offering the same type of solution that you are. An indirect competitor is close, but not identical. We don't have Boston chicken around here in Nashville, but maybe Chick-fil-A is a better example. Panera Bread. Those are also fast food or convenience food, but they're not necessarily the dollar burger and the $1.50 fries. So those are called indirect competitors, also can take some of your business. So you need to consider both direct and indirect competitors in your analysis. So when we're preparing to do our analysis, let's stop and think about that for a minute. I want you to think about a couple of companies I'm sure you've heard of, most everyone's familiar with in computers. So you have Macintosh and the PC-based computers. So really, through the years, those two formats have both succeeded in their own right. They really maybe target a different audience or users. They maybe go about their pricing and distribution differently. But I think if you'll look at, particularly Microsoft and Apple, for example, at their stock prices, at their earnings, at their success, they both have been able to compete in a very similar market and both still have success. I want you to think for a minute about why that might be. You can talk on your tables for a bit, jot some notes down to yourself. But why do you think two big companies, such as Microsoft and Apple, who offer more or less the same end type solution, computers and computing and laptop stuff, how are they competing? How are they able to make money and succeed? So I want you to think about those for a minute, jot down some notes. We'll just do a quick brainstorm activity. So what were some of the ideas that you had about the different success measures? So yeah, maybe they target different audiences, like typically Macintosh has been in education or maybe artists, where the PCs or Windows has been more business-based. Volumes too, volumes is good. The PCs sell usually at a lower price point, so you can sell more in the market of the volume, where the Macintosh is usually at a higher price point, perceived as maybe a higher luxury type value. You don't sell as many units, but maybe makes more on each unit. So those are a couple of really good analysis on the difference of the Windows and Macs. So I think you're starting to get the idea of how to think through this. Really what we need you to focus on is you're going to define your product or service and your customer segment. We've talked about that a couple of times in the last few weeks, and I think most of you have done that within your product, but I want to make sure you've got a really good idea of what you're bringing to the table right now in your products or services. List some competitive features of your product or service. What's so great about them? Why would I want to buy them? What's in it for me as a consumer? Brainstorm about your direct and indirect competitors, and then determine some methods that you'll use to come up with some of that competitive intel. So those are the things we're going to be talking about for the rest of the class period today, and that's going to set you up for a good work period tomorrow. Before we proceed though, I want you to watch a real quick video which talks about the idea of competitive analysis and the importance.
All businesses have competitors, and not just the rival down the road. With so many goods and services online, your competitors could be based anywhere in the world. So it's time to do your research. The more you know about your competitors, the easier it will be to market your own unique strengths and win customers. At first, your competitors' products or services might look a lot like yours, but take a closer look at their products, website, and advertising, and you might find they are selling a product of lower quality, or selling something so niche only a few people would be interested. Research your competitors' products and website. They may seem a lot like yours, but a closer look might reveal low-quality products or a niche appeal that will only attract a few customers. Look at where they're advertising too. Is it in print or all online? A quick Google search can often bring up customer reviews of competitors, including the odd disgruntled customer. So what has your research revealed about your competitors? You now know about their products, services, and customer service ethics, and have a rough idea of their marketing budget. The key now is to focus on what your competitors are doing better than you and address it. This may involve updating your website or creating some new marketing material. Just remember to keep an eye on the competition. No doubt they have an eye on you too.
Okay, I want everyone to take out your individual journals, and I want you to spend a few minutes updating those journals with some of these thoughts. I want you to answer these questions about your specific business. You've done it a couple of times. It's really good practice to do it again and again, so continue to work on your pitch and your summary of your business. So what service or product are you providing, and who are your target customers? what are the competitive features? Off the top of your head, who are the direct or indirect competitors? We mentioned that earlier, the difference between those. And just come up with a handful of them. You know, this isn't set in stone. Just start brainstorming a bit. And then what is the difference between direct and indirect competitors? And give me a couple of examples. We used the Wendy's, McDonald's, Chick-fil-A example earlier. See if you can come up with something a little more relevant to your market. So I'm going to give you about 3 or 4 minutes to do that in your own journals. So fill out these answers for me on today's entry for your individual journals. Okay, great work, guys. Anybody have anything enlightening they want to share with the group? I'm not going to call on everybody, but if something struck you or if you have a question at this point, let me know, and we'll talk about it. Anybody have anything they want to share from your journal entries? Okay, so how do you find out about the competition? We watched that quick video, gave us a couple of really good ideas. How would you go about researching your competition? I want you to talk in your groups at your tables for 1 minute, come up with 2 or 3 ideas, and then we're going to get together as a group and brainstorm of just different resources. I'll tip you off. Google research or Yelp reviews. Those are a couple of good ways to find out information. So continue. Give me a few more of those, okay? All right, those are some great brainstorm ideas for ways to research the competition. In your Schoology class page, there's also some other resources, web pages, and suggestions of places you could start researching. I want you to go ahead and get in your groups now, and we are going to, actually got a little bit of time here on day 1, so I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and start working in your groups on your competitive research. So everybody get within your groups that we've assigned, and we're going to talk about what your next step is working in the group. We'll spend the last few minutes of today working on that, and then we'll start up tomorrow and spend all day tomorrow doing your competitive research. All right, welcome back for the second day. Hope everyone had a good night last night. And just as a reminder, some of the things we've talked about with our competitive research, we're trying to find out things about our competition, who is targeting the same customers as you, and what resources do they have at their disposal? Are they bigger, stronger, faster, less expensive, more expensive, shinier? What's different about them than you? And how do they intend to compete with you, and vice versa? We talked about direct and indirect competitors, and I had you brainstorm kind of some ideas on those as well. And then I promised today that we were going to spend our day working on your competitive analysis worksheets in your groups. So here's what I'd like you to do. In your handouts is a copy of the spreadsheet for competitive analysis. And we're going to look for specific information about each company. And I've listed those here. I need to know the company's name, their online website, where their headquarters are, mission statement. Let me pull up the spreadsheet itself and show you an example that I have here. So this is just done on mattresses. So if I'm a mattress company, I'm selling mattresses. The competition in this case is called Casper.com. It was based in New York. It talks about its mission statement that I pulled off its website is your pillow doesn't pancake when compressed. It talks about what their advantages are, what do they offer, mattresses and some pillows. You can buy them online, you get them on Facebook, Amazon, eBay, places like that. And I went along to see what some of their strengths are. They're a very large company, they have a wide audience. Some of the weaknesses is they're really expensive. You can't touch it before you buy it. You have to buy it online and it shows up at your door. Some people don't like that. I would consider that a direct. And then how does my company, how do I fit in relation to them? Do I have an advantage? Do I have a disadvantage? Or are we about even? And I'm going to have you explain those for each. So as you go through the spreadsheet, I want you to enter a company, at a time on each of the rows. So you may have 2, 3, 4 companies. Some of you may have a half dozen or more that you'll need to do research on. But using the competitive analysis worksheet that I've given you, and all of the information that I want you to enter is in the columns of each of the spreadsheets, and it's all listed here in the slides, and you'll find it on the Schoology webpage as well. So I'm going to give you the rest of the day to work on this. I'm going to be around in the class if you got some questions, you want to show me some ideas or show me some things that you found. I'm going to be seeing some of your resources where you're researching the information, websites or articles or other ways to go. And don't forget that even outside of the class, you can use resources like actually talking to customers or prospects, maybe friends or family that may be targeting the market, or looking at buying their products even, and touching and feeling and comparing what they offer to what you're offering. So don't forget to think outside of just the computer in the classroom for some other solutions. So spend the rest of the day in your groups, work on your competitive grid worksheet. We'll wrap up at the end of the day, and I'll tell you what we're going to expect for the next 2 days on our presentations. All right, good work, guys. Okay, guys, as we wrap up day 2 today, hopefully you got a lot done in your groups going through the competitive grid worksheet. Hopefully you're able to Google, Yelp, Instagram, Amazon, do a lot of competitive research about what else is out there and how it compares with you. You still may need some work to do tonight to complete your worksheet. I want you to have at least 3 competitors. More than that's even better, but at least 3 solid competitors entered into your spreadsheet. So if you didn't finish it today in class, you'll need to wrap that up tonight. And then tomorrow, we're going to have group presentations actually for the next 2 days. So each group is going to present your findings up here in front of the class. Think about the Mac and PC discussion we had earlier. What separates those, even though they're close? What makes them special or different so they still can succeed in their market? And I want you to answer these 4 specific questions during your presentation. List 2 competitive advantages that you have, good things about you. List 2 weaknesses that your company has, areas for improvement, or you may be lagging behind some of the competition. And I want you to list 2 areas where you can improve your weaknesses or even strengthen your advantages. So I'm going to come up with some very detailed action steps, next steps on how you can apply this to your business. And then explaining in this process how you plan to succeed alongside your competition. So that's what we're going to look at for the next 2 days as you wrap up. Finish up your stuff tonight. Get ready for group presentations tomorrow and Thursday. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in class or shoot me a message on Schoology. I'll make sure to take attention to those. All right, guys, good work today. I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, guys, welcome back for day 3. I told you today and tomorrow we're going to do our presentations, group presentations. So hopefully everybody got your competitive worksheet completed with at least 3 competitors. More is better. Here was a copy of the spreadsheet I showed you earlier, and then as a reminder, this is a list of the information for each of the competitors I wanted you to pull up on that spreadsheet. When we're done tomorrow at the end of class, I want everyone to hand in your copy of that spreadsheet to me. So everybody individually should have a copy of that spreadsheet. I want you to turn that in for me. Our presentations today, I'm going to have each group come up, 1 group at a time. I'm going to give you 10 minutes each because we've got a lot of material to get through, but 10 minutes. And then we'll allow for a couple of minutes of Q&A from the class as well, but looking for 2 advantages your company has, 2 weaknesses that you think you have where you can improve, and I want you to list 2 specific areas that you plan to improve the weakness or even make your advantage even stronger. And thus, how are you going to compete with those in the market that you're going to compare with? So when we're done, after the group presentations tomorrow, you should have turned in your competitive analysis worksheet, have all the documentation in the journals that I've asked you to do. In your journals, I also want you to create a timeline and task list of the 2 items that we talked about in your presentation where you're going to improve your company. What are you going to do and when? What's the timeline? And as a group, we'll discuss our findings in the next steps. So we'll spend the rest of the day on our group presentations. So which group would like to go first in our presentations? All right, guys, that wraps up our group presentations. I thought y'all did a great job. Actually, I always learn a bit from you guys of places to go, to resources and things that you're looking at for research. So really good job in your competition. I think most of you have a very comfortable handle on your product or service that you're offering, how it compares to others, and it seems that you have even a better understanding of some of your strengths and weaknesses. So really good job. Make sure your assignments are turned in today. We'll have a video day tomorrow on Friday, and good work on all the work you did this week, guys. I thought it was a great job. Take care.